After missing out on Nikita Zadorov, the Toronto Maple Leafs are still in search of that top four defenseman to fill in for the injuries. Now, we have a lot of recent reports from very notable sources that the San Jose Sharks may be willing to move a defenseman, especially to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So before we get on into the evidence that we have here, we notice that 83% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're looking for a spot to get all your news around the NHL, you're in the right spot. Stay a while, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the breaking news. We're also very close to 1,000 subscribers, so if we could hit that by Christmas, that would be awesome. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button. But first off, we're going to start off here with Elliotte Friedman from 32 Thoughts the Podcast. He said San Jose needed 10 games to score 16 goals at the start of the season, then 16 in their drive through New Jersey, New York, and Long Island. GM Mike Rear let it be known he's willing to consider many options with his defense. I was surprised to hear that included Mario Ferraro, a good young player under contract for 2 more years after the season at $3.25 million. Apparently his underlying numbers aren't great, but he'd be more willing to take my chances. And I could absolutely agree with this. Mario Ferraro has been on the San Jose Sharks his entire career, and he's never been on a solid team. So if you look at his charts, if you look at his in-depth stats, I guess you could say, they're not great. They're really not great. He really has no solid numbers to his name, but this is solely due to being on the San Jose Sharks. You cannot have any good numbers being on that team right now. They're playing all right as of late, but especially as a defenseman and the way this season started, your numbers are going to be really bad. I believe he's a negative his entire career. Maybe not for one season, but he's been a negative for pretty much the whole career. So this is a lot of stuff to think about when you're considering a guy like Mario Ferraro, where he hasn't played on a great team. You don't know how he'll play with guys in front of him, and, more people surrounding him on the defense. But like Elliotte said, I'd be more willing to give my shot than many other defensemen because of his cap space, his salary, I should say, and his term. And once again, we don't know how he would play with a solid forward core, and it's a group of guys that can control the puck in the offensive zone. We've seen that he could be good. We've seen that Mario Ferraro could be a solid defenseman, but having, so much pressure on him the entire game, not pressure as in stress, but pressure as in offensive opposing pressure, there's a lot you gotta go through when you're on a garbage team. That's pretty simple. We also have another one here from the fourth period by David Pagnotta, I believe. Teams include the Carolina Hurricanes, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames, and Dallas Stars are among teams to be interested in Mario Ferraro, who's also on the radar for several other clubs. So, Mario Ferraro is a hot topic here, but he also goes on to say Mike Rear is not believed to be overly interested in moving Ferraro for future assets and draft picks. Any move involving Ferraro may look like a talent for talent swap or in a larger package that brings back young talent. So, the San Jose Sharks, they're accepting the rebuild at this point. They're not looking for anybody who's a now player. They're looking for the future. And the Leafs have a bit of that to offer. They're going to be hesitant on what they do offer. The Leafs now have about a 3 to 4 year window, which they should be going all in. That's what we've been noticing the Leafs doing, what they've been acquiring, who they've been acquiring in this time, and what they've been giving up. So I would be, like Ellie said once again, I'd be willing to give Mario Ferraro a chance due to his salary, what he's making, and I believe that he could be a very solid defenseman, a very underrated defenseman with the core that Toronto has and how they've been playing, especially the minutes he's going to be getting. He's going to be getting a lot of minutes on this very injured top 4, I would say top 6 pairing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have so many injuries. John Klingberg being out for the season, Mark Giordano and Timothy Liljegren being out for the foreseeable future. So you're looking for a solid, stable core on the Maple Leafs, and they need to make a move sooner than later. We've seen this team struggle on defense, and it hasn't been great, mainly due to the injuries. The injuries are a major factor in this, as well as some players just not playing up to their expectations, which is obviously a big part of this as well. But Mario Ferraro's contract, I want to talk about this. This gives you a player that you can have a term of 3 years, which is 2 years after the season, to go with. At 3.25, maybe if you trade for him, he does very, very well, and that's a solid contract, especially with the cap going up by $4 million, or projected $4 million this offseason. So the Leafs, if they do make a move, I think this is a guy they should go after. I really am a firm believer in this. Mario Ferraro, we've seen shades of him being excellent on the San Jose Sharks. However, it is very difficult to be excellent on the San Jose Sharks with what they have, especially now with the one player they had that was actually half decent gone in Erik Karlsson. So, maybe that they're not looking for a guy like Mario Ferraro. There's so many options, but I think Mario Ferraro would be someone that they need to look at, especially with the teams that David Pagnotta mentioned, being, especially the Carolina Hurricanes. That's a team they're looking for another defenseman to replace some injuries, and also they're very high over the expected goals against average. So they're looking for some defense additions, but the Maple Leafs, I think, are the team that needs to go after Mario Ferraro solely based on what he can turn into with a good team. I really think that he could be a very solid, very underrated defenseman with a good team. So we'll have to see what the Leafs do. You know, they have a lot of time towards the trade deadline, but teams are starting to make moves and time is ticking. Once one team makes a move, it kind of goes like a staircase then, where more teams are starting to make moves, realizing that as soon as they get closer to the trade deadline, the more that teams are trying to make moves beforehand to get the players they want. We've seen that in the past few years. The Leafs need to act on this very quickly if they want to make something move. They have the facilities to be able to, and the capabilities to be able to trade some young players, maybe even a few picks to the San Jose Sharks of what they're looking for. And, you know, Mario Ferraro, I'm sure, would be happy to get to San Jose. Although it's in California, I think he'd rather go to a good team, be able to win a cup, and, you know, go for a push, I guess you can say, under his contract right now, which is very good. So we'll see what the Leafs do with this, if they act upon the Mario Ferraro situation, if they go after any other guys, maybe Chris Tanev, and there's a few other names floating around right now. But Mario Ferraro, I think, will be my number one, especially on that left side. I'll pull up the lines one more time before we end this one off. Simone Benoit, William Lagesson, and Morgan Riley. I think you can definitely add to that left side. And Mario Ferraro could most certainly be a second-line pairing, which I think is a perfect role for him, right behind Morgan Riley, paired up with either Jake McCabe, Connor Timmins, whoever they decide to put on that second line. So that's all I got for this video. We'll be seeing what the Leafs do. I'm really thinking they should make a push in the next few days, as his name is garnering interest from around the league. And yeah, that's all I got. So if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to hit that sub button. Very close to 1,000 subscribers. Like I said, it'd be awesome if we could hit that before Christmas. But that's all we got. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already, if you did enjoy. And yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.